I was in what would be my fourth lineup at the airport. I looked down at my phone. 8:30 a.m. Then at my boarding pass. Oh, my plane was boarding at that moment. A lovely man in line with me says, "We're going to miss our flight." At that moment, I had two options. I could panic about missing the flight, or I could choose ease. Welcome to Possibilities with me, Hina Khan. I've been a success coach for well over a decade. And after working with hundreds of clients, here's what I've come to know. The only thing holding us back from a larger, more expansive life is our mindset. I'm going to help you break through your mental barriers and unlock infinite possibilities. Hello, thank you so much for being here, my friend, and welcome back. I have missed you. It feels so great to be recording new episodes for you. All right, before we get started and I tell you this story of me at the airport, I want to let you know that I have an open house. What does that mean? That means that you can come on my calls that I exclusively do for clients. These are my morning calls. And if it doesn't work with your time zone, no worries. They're recorded. You can find the link to sign up in the episode description. You'll also find it in my Facebook group. Now back to the airport. I was traveling from Toronto to Phoenix, Arizona. I got to the airport with plenty of time, or so I thought. I knew there would be lineups, but they were even longer than I anticipated. And as you might expect, you could feel people getting annoyed and frustrated. There was a couple ahead of me in the first line I was in. I knew the male's name because his partner kept saying it to calm him down. His name was Mark. And Mark was not happy. He was spinning and going down a rabbit hole. The rabbit hole was something like this. If we miss our flight, I'm going home. I'm not staying for another flight. This is ridiculous. Mark's partner was trying to calm him down. All of this was going on around me, but I made a decision, a conscious decision, that I was not going to get swept up in it. I was going to choose ease. I put this invisible field of protection around me. Literally, it was like do. It was my invisible energy bubble protecting me. And then I made another decision that I was making the flight. And let me tell you something. It is so easy to practice and apply these principles that I teach when things are going well, when there are no outside forces rubbing you the wrong way. If you really want to test your mindset, travel during a pandemic. This took effort and discipline, even for me. So what does the effort look like? It looked like not looking at my phone, because I would then see the time and that would trigger worry or doubt. It looked like not texting my partner Paul to fill him in on what was happening, to let him know I may miss my flight. I couldn't engage in that. It meant keeping my whole being focused on making that flight with ease. That was my state of being, which is why I told the very nice man behind me that I see us on the plane. You see, interacting with his narrative contradicted my state. Now, here is something that you need to know. There was a time when I would have interacted with his narrative because being nice was more important than my state. Oh my gosh, can you hear this? This is hitting me in a whole new way. There was a time when interacting with his narrative would have made me feel like I was a nice person, that I was agreeable, and that was more important than taking care of my well-being. But not this time. Okay, so now I get to customs and it's past 9 a.m. According to my boarding pass, my flight has taken off and is in the air. But still, the only thing that I could control was my attitude. So I made a choice not to get swept up in the dominant vibration of the people around me. Now you might be wondering, what the hell does that mean? This is what it means. The dominant vibration is the dominant energy of the room. Feelings are the conscious awareness of the vibration we are in. And we can sense people's energy. And what we are picking up on is how they're feeling in that moment. So at the airport, imagine what it was like. The majority of people are worried and stressed about missing their plane. That is the dominant vibration. And what that looked like were people clutching their boarding pass, intense text conversations, intense conversations among each other, looking down at their phone, muttering to themselves, oh my God, the muttering and the mumbling, like, this is stupid. They should have known. Like, you know what I'm talking about. And there was even a woman, oh my gosh, she burst into tears near me at the thought of missing her flight. Now, this is an important point because when we do not protect our energy, that's what we will get swept up into. What is the dominant one? All right, now we get through customs and start heading towards the gate. At this point, I'm not running, but I'm also not stopping for a Starbucks. When I make it to the gate, I learn that the flight has been delayed by 25 minutes. And I see that lovely man that we were in line together, he is now boarding. We made it to the plane just as I expected. I am not suggesting that my attitude delayed the plane. I am saying that all my time in those lineups could have been hell. Hell. I could have been frantically texting Paul or playing out the worst case scenarios like Mark. I could have engaged in conversations where I complained about the airport processes. I could have been mumbling and muttering under my breath at what bullshit this is. But I didn't. And that made my time there much more enjoyable. And the fact that I didn't miss my plane was a nice bonus. Okay, this may shock some of you, but there was a time when I didn't know I had a choice. And maybe some of you don't know you have a choice. When I just kind of believed, well, God, this is just kind of done to me, or I would go into a victim mindset. So to understand that in spite of what life is throwing at me, I can still choose how to feel is revolutionary. Like, are you getting this? Just imagine if everyone in that lineup knew they were able to choose how to feel in that moment. 95%, and actually more than that, didn't know that they could choose not to be anxious and stressed. What would the dominant vibration be if they knew they could choose something else? I get to decide. Okay, and of course there are times when the environment does get the best of me. But I have to shift my focus so that my well-being is my top priority. How am I showing up to a situation? How am I being in this moment? Although I have to say, here's where I have not mastered it. I'm going to be honest with you, so lean in for this one. When you're boarding the plane and you've got to put your stuff in the overhead bin and you're also getting your stuff out of your bag to put onto your seat, like your book, your headphones, whatever you need, and there's the lineup behind you, I can feel the dominant vibration. And what I feel is, can you hurry up, please? Oh my gosh, I find that so stressful. And then when you are disembarking, and it's the same thing, you've got to get your luggage from the overhead bin and then put all your stuff away, and you feel people breathing down your neck as you are trying to gather all of your things as fast as you can. And then the worst, oh my gosh, please send me a note if you feel this, is when you have to hand your garbage over to the flight attendant, and I'm looking at where they're at and they're a few rows back, and I've already got my garbage in my hand. I've paused my movie so that I can make sure that I can get their attention. And until I hand it to them, I'm a bit tense. And then after I do, I have this huge sense of relief. Okay, so clearly I still have work to do. But in all seriousness, if you could master this concept of deciding your state of being regardless of outside forces, how could that change your life? Really, I mean, think about it. What would your days be like? But I want to make something clear. It's not about positive thinking or pretending that things don't piss you off. It's a state of being. There are a lot of rageful, angry, positive thinkers out there. In the next episode, I'm going to dive into this concept deeper. But right now, I have a little exercise for you, and we're going to do that right after the break. I just want you to start to become aware of the choices that you have. And the way that we can do that is just look back into the past because, as they say, hindsight is 20/20. So I want you to just maybe close your eyes, just relax, inhale, exhale, and just think about a moment when you were triggered. When the environment stressed you out. And think about how you showed up in that moment. What was it like in your body? And now, this is without judgment. At that time, you didn't know you had a choice. And now you do have a choice. So I want you to go back to that moment and choose how you want to show up to it. The circumstances don't change, but you're choosing something different. Amazing. You're amazing. Did I tell you that I missed you? Did I tell you how happy I am to be back with brand new spanking episodes? Okay, so you know what to do. Write a review, leave a rating, download for sure, follow, subscribe, all the good stuff. I so appreciate it when you do that, and I read every single comment. And I appreciate it because you know what happens? It affects the algorithm and it allows us to grow and reach more people. Remember to sign up for my open house next week and connect with me in my Facebook group, Hina Success Circle. This episode was produced by Stephanie Phillips, presented by the Frequency Podcast Network.